Niner Empire, what's going on? Cam Rogers coming at you with the latest 49ers news. I'll get to some rumors later as well because this is the 49ers Report, and we thank you for continuing to watch this program. If you're here for the first time, don't you worry. I'll take you through all of the good stuff surrounding the San Francisco 49ers. We'll start things off with Kyle Shanahan originally wanting Kirk Cousins to be the franchise quarterback of the 49ers. This coming from John Lynch during an interview with ESPN. And this is hardly surprising, number one, because Kyle Shanahan worked with Kirk Cousins for 3 years in Washington. And Lynch said even after the 49ers traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, Shanahan felt some remorse in that Jimmy G had to essentially prove himself a little extra when he went out there to play quarterback for the 49ers. And once Garoppolo hit the football field and started winning games, obviously it's pretty easy to win a coach over. Meanwhile, Cousins is busy making guaranteed money, $84 million worth with the Minnesota Vikings, so he's doing okay as well. But I think Kyle Shanahan feels all right now. But originally, the master plan was to have Kirk Cousins come on in and play for the 49ers. Really interesting note there. All right, next news nugget. The 49ers worked out a Florida State pass rusher, potential draft pick here, and we know the 49ers need a lot of help on that defensive line in terms of pass rushing ability, and the 49ers had formal meetings with one Josh Sweat at the Combine. He's a former #1 high school recruit in the nation. Drew Jadeveon Clowney kind of comparisons here. He did suffer an ACL tear his senior year, but Sweat really did perform well during the Combine, a 4.53 second 40-yard dash, 39.5 vertical jump in terms of inches there, so both really solid numbers. The 49ers are apparently looking into this guy as perhaps a strong side linebacker, maybe a Leo pass rush position here. And the 49ers, a team that ranked in the 20s last season in sacks produced, could certainly use the amount of firepower that Sweat can provide. All right, finally here in the news section, Richard Sherman, of course, recently had his press conference, and he defended his methodology in terms of negotiating a contract. Of course, you know he does not have an agent, and Sherman signed a 3-year, $27 million contract with just $5 million guaranteed. And Sherman got a lot of flack for this, like kind of pointing to you, cough, cough, Joe Thomas, when he went out on Twitter and said that Sherman could have had a much better contract, but Sherman was actually pretty content about it. And if Sherman is content, why should anyone else really care? So he recently had his introductory press conference. It was a nice, long talk with the media. Here he is. I'm going to toss to a little clip here. Sherman defending his contract and the move to San Francisco.
Well, the biggest misconception is that it's a bad deal. I think, if you're comparing it to my last deal in Seattle, I had no money guaranteed. So if I'm basing it off just going off my last year in Seattle and you compared it, I got no money guaranteed. I'm going into Seattle. I'm coming off a ruptured Achilles. What do I have? What security do I have there? With this deal, I get $5 million guaranteed, which is half of my other contract. I get the ability to make more than I could have done, whether I played at an all-pro level or not in Seattle.
Pretty logical, pretty reasonable. I don't know why anyone needs to give this guy any flack. So there you go. Hey, folks, Cam Rogers coming at you. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99. I'll get into the latest rumors in a matter of moments. But first, a special word from our friends at Man Crates.
Man Crates. Awesome gifts for men in real wooden crates, wrapped in a cocoon of duct tape, or housed in ammo cans that are virtually indestructible. Some gifts he'll get to assemble himself. Some gifts you'll beg him to share. And some gifts are sealed inside layers of rock-solid concrete. Gifts guys love, from grilling gear to old-school video games and more. Man Crates. Awesome gifts for men.
And many thanks to Man Crates for sponsoring the 49ers Report here today. You see the rumor meter. As we get into the rumors, we got to explain the scale of believability here. So we use Jed heads, so 0 Jed heads, it's fake news. Do not believe in that rumor. 1 Jed head, there's little truth to it. 2 Jed heads, it's simmering, firmly in that rumor category. 3 Jed heads, we are faithful that it is accurate. And then 4 Jed heads, it's happening. So let's get into rumor number 1. Did the 49ers work out a former Eagles defensive back We're going to give this 3 jet heads. We are faithful that this is accurate. So the 49ers, they're not done looking for secondary help here. And the defensive back is Jalen Watkins, formerly of those Eagles. And you look at Ahkello Witherspoon and Richard Sherman. After that, there's a bit of a drop-off in terms of outside corner. I think K'Wan Williams could use some depth behind him as well. Watkins, 6 feet, 194 pounds, could also provide some solid depth at the safety position. You see there, he can play safety as well. So put him behind maybe Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart. What I'm saying is you can essentially plug this guy anywhere, so kind of a Swiss Army knife there in the secondary. We'll see if the 49ers eventually sign this guy, but at least they're giving him a hard look. All right, let's get to rumor number 2 here. Are the 49ers going to sign wide receiver Allen Hurns? We're giving this 1 jet head. Very little truth to it. I don't see it happening, guys. You know, it's fun to think about, but Hurns recently visited with the Cowboys, reportedly has interest in the Jets as well. The 49ers recently extended Marquise Goodwin. You've got Trent Taylor at the slot position, who is rapidly growing as a player. And you have Pierre Garçon. I actually think, and this is just from a personal standpoint, the 49ers are in pretty good shape in terms of wide receivers. I think they'll go and grab a couple of them via the draft. But I don't think they need to be very active in free agency at this juncture. I think they're in okay shape. They can really direct their attention to other areas. I think Allen Hurns may also demand a little too much money for the 49ers' liking. So we'll give this one jet head. Let's get to rumor number 3 now. Did the Jets cause the 49ers to up the price on Jerick McKinnon? We're giving this 3 jet heads. We're faithful in it, and mostly because the Jets were a team that had a lot of salary cap space. They still kind of do, and it's not crazy to think that there's some sort of bidding war that went down between these 2 squads. So McKinnon is now the 4th highest paid running back on a yearly salary basis, and apparently that had to do with the Jets going all out, and then the 49ers like countering, so it was this back and forth between these 2 teams, but Shanahan apparently was not going to let this die. He was not going to be denied. He really wanted Jerick McKinnon on his squad, and so you look at the contract now for McKinnon, and here's why it's not all that bad if you're worried about all the money going to him. McKinnon's 2019 salary isn't guaranteed until April 1st, so, and that's of 2019, by the way, giving the 49ers the option to release McKinnon if he doesn't really work out. So you can kind of have that fallback option if 2018 is kind of a bust with Jerick McKinnon. But the Jets, a big reason why McKinnon got paid. All right, let's go to rumor number 4 here. So did an impending roster bonus for Daniel Kilgore lead to his trading? We're giving this 3 jet heads. I'm not going to give it 4 because it's not the sole reason why Kilgore got traded. Of course, you have Weston Richburg coming on over for the Giants. That was part of the equation as well, but Kilgore was due $2.3 million that Friday, which was the next day after when he was traded. So he was traded on a Thursday. The roster bonus was due the following day. So Kilgore, yeah, he was going to get paid. The 49ers are like, no thanks, we're going to send you away. We have Richburg here, and you guys may recall on the previous edition of this program, I was thinking out loud and kind of talking to you guys, who wins that center position? Is it Kilgore? Is it Richburg? Who wins out in that Shanahan zone blocking scheme? I think we know our answer now because, well, Daniel went bye-bye. Let's go to rumor number 5. Richard Sherman, could he be returning in May or June sometime? So we're going to give this one 3 jet heads. We're faithful in it. We feel pretty good about this. So during Sherman's press conference, he alluded to returning back to the football field around that time. Of course, he's coming off an Achilles injury, and we don't really have reason to say that he's lying or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure he's been consulting with his doctors. He's an intelligent guy. He knows what to do, go through the programs and the rehabs, and I think Richard Sherman will probably be back around that time. If you see on the graphic there, he suffered his Achilles injury last November. That's a good chunk of time to go through the rehab process. Sherman noted how some athletes just kind of come from a different cloth, and he was kind of talking about it himself in that he can kind of channel, you know, being that outlier, not going through the typical length of recovery that some regular people out there just have to go through when they rupture their Achilles. So maybe Sherman can channel little Adrian Peterson and get back to the football field in less than a year from his November injury. So we shall see. We are faithful in him returning to the 49ers pretty darn soon, at least on that football field, I should say. All right, let's get to rumor number 6. Eric Reid. What's the deal with him? Well, he's still a free agent. Is he currently unsigned due to the National Anthem protest that he has engaged in? We're going to give this 3 Jetheads. We're quite faithful in that as part of the equation. I'm not going to give it 4 Jetheads because the safety market in free agency actually is really slow. So you got to point to that as well. But Eric Reid has been quite, shall we say, vocal about basically being unemployed at this juncture. Hasn't gotten many calls from teams. Recently took to Twitter blaming NFL owners for looking past his ability on the football field. And, of course, you may recall Reid was one of the first to kneel with Colin Kaepernick in protest of racial inequality and police brutality. So with that, we want to hear from you watching on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. Hit me up in the comments section. Should NFL general managers sign players who protest the national anthem? Let me know. Of course, part of the 49ers report is when you guys chime in and I hear from you. I'll be sure to track what you guys say. And, of course, I'll answer any questions that you see fit. So let me know in the comments section below on Facebook Live and YouTube.